Good morning, Vietnam. What's going on, everybody? We're live from the tractor. Live. That's not planting. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're done planting. That's wrapped up, guy. That's wrapped up. I need the AC to turn on here. It's getting too hot. There we go. Dude, we need to spring one of these so bad. We're getting sick of getting out and putting bolts in. I will tell you that. Getting to the end here, getting to the end. We got the duals off this time. We don't need them. We're moving on. Sunshine. This farm is significantly less rocky than the last one. Jake, are you still here? Watch this shit. See that? Stopped at 12. Back to 15. God, you love to see it. You love to see it. Took me forever to figure that out. I'm not sure that it's right, but we can figure out how to move forward with that. That's a starting place, but who knows? Who knows? So this is just the distance trip. Then we got this page. I mean, the displays are just fancy. It's like a little double slide. Bang. I think I got another one. Nope. Or I hit the one button. What's everybody doing today? No duels. Yes, that is a John Deere steering wheel on a red tractor. Probably looks a little funky. What are you sending me, Jake? I don't know how you guys can see the light tint of green. We got some volunteer oats popping back up. I'm not sure they're going to make it much past the first frost, but we got some of those left over. Pop back up, little green cover on our bare dirt. It's our ripper. We're doing subsoiling, getting ready to plant cherries next week. So we're ripping down low, going every other 21 feet are these strips here. So we're only working this spot, that spot, that. All the way over here. It's all the way up on the top of the hill. So it's a little bit, we're moving a little bit faster this time than usual. We're up to 1.6. Usually we're rocking like a, what do we usually do? Before in the other field, which is up here in this open area, that field was a 50-acre field and had a lot of rocks, so we were doing more like a consistent 1.1, 1.3, 1.4, but over here we're able to move a little bit quicker. Which is great. Hello from Ukraine. Yikes, that's a long ways away. Welcome. Ukraine, that is a long ways away. What time is it in Ukraine? How's the war? So we just finished planting apples yesterday. We planted about 17, almost 18,000 trees in about 11 hours. 2 varieties. Now we're kind of relaxing. We're ripping some rows as we prepare to get some cherries planted here next week. So that'll be exciting. We'll get that done. Planting cherries doesn't happen very consistently around here. We usually almost like once every 5 years that we plant. Did you plant saplings or seed? Saplings. We grow all of our own cherry and apple trees. All the apples have been in the nursery for I think about two years as apples, 1 year as the rootstock. So we buy rootstock from a nursery and we plant a rootstock in the ground, and after that we let that grow for a year, and then we take a bud from an apple branch and we graft that into that rootstock and then grow our own trees from there. I cannot read that. Yeah, so we grow all of our own trees for about a half of the price as it would be to buy like a sapling from a nursery. But it takes skill, patience, and a lot of work. You got to keep all the weeds off of them. You got to keep the deer out. I have a couple long form videos on the channel highlighting that entire process from us planting the roots to growing the roots and then eventually grafting over the types of apples. You can check that out in the long form video there. I think there's 3 nursery videos. I should probably put those all together into one playlist so people can find them easier. So you're running a large operation. We have 2,500 acres of cherries, and now we're up to about 45 acres of apples. So our apples we're just getting into for the first time. We've been traditionally a large cherry producer, but now we're trying to diversify a little bit and try and get a second paycheck during the year. So we're going to start planting apples here and start up our own high density orchard. So that's what we've been doing. We started in 2021 planting the apples up here. We just got our first crop off of those. So we're off to a good start. But yes, it makes more sense for us to grow our own trees than to buy them based on the amount. We usually, in a nursery, wow. Usually our nurseries have up to 40 or 50,000 trees in them at a time. So we're growing anywhere on an average year from 40 to 50,000 trees in a nursery. I think we just bought some Mahala rootstock for some cherry trees that we're going to be planting, I believe next year. I think they're a year out. What state are you working in? This is Michigan, United States, in Michigan, Traverse City area, the cherry capital of the world, in fact. So now we're working just the strips where we're going to plant the cherry trees next week. Next week we're starting that. So we have our subsoiler in the back here. It's a 3-shank ripper. We're going down about 12-16 inches. And we're just trying to aerate the soil, loosen it up. We don't want any compaction. Compaction is bad. The young trees need lots of loose dirt so that they can establish their roots well and kind of expand and establish themselves. So we have a John Deere guidance system driving the tractor straight, following our guidance line. These rows are growing directly north and south. The rows are 21 feet apart. So this distance from that line to this blue line is 21 feet, and that's the distance between our rows of cherries. And that works out well for us and our equipment. 21 feet, black. 21 feet for the row spacing, and in between the trees is going to be 15 feet. So all this up here in front of the tractor was all heavily wooded. So we ripped all that out this year. We're not going to plant it because some of it's a little too hilly and a little low. But that doesn't mean this spot up here up by the fence and those 3 big trees is a little bit more of a flat area. So I wouldn't be surprised if we try and cram some extra trees up there. If we have any. So let's see here, 21 feet. I'm from Central Texas. I've tried planting trees but never had any luck. What kind of trees? And would it have anything to do with your, what am I trying to say? Anything to do with the heat? Cherries and apples have to have our area that we grow them, just kind of like Washington, is very specific to the latitude. Oh my God, what is this thing doing here? How did a stink bug get in my tractor? Yes, so back to what I was saying. The 45th parallel area across the United States is unique for its ability and temperature and the seasonal changes in order to grow fruit trees. So that's why a lot of the states through the 45th parallel grow cherries and fruit. Not all of them. There's a large amount of farms in the Utah area, but out in Washington, United States, New York, it's a big area for fruit. And you need quite a bit of water. We have a lot of inland lakes, and we're right on the edge of the Lake Michigan, so the lakes actually keep the trees a little bit warmer compared to the middle of the state. The middle of the state experiences a lot more frost than we get, and frost will actually freeze your fruit bud, and you won't have any crop that year. So cold weather is a huge factor in the success of your farm as well. But also too much heat and drought. Sure, you could have some irrigation, but so that's why we grow cherries where we're at. We also have a farm in southern Michigan, which does very well. The big problem is the droughts we get. True. We had a drought here this year for the first time from like the longest we've gone without water. I think we didn't have any rain all of September, which was not normal. We usually have plenty of water. What kind of trees were you planting? Ohio Jeremy's back. Welcome back, my friend. Poor guy, droughts. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how some parts of the country get no rain, then you get, you know, places like North Carolina, Florida, everyone who got smoked by the hurricane and they have way too much water, while we're, you know, a couple thousand miles north of there and we didn't get any rain and we haven't had any water, which is just so interesting how some parts can get so much while other parts don't get any. But that's for people smarter than me to argue about. Ohio's had an extreme drought for most of the summer. We were looking like, I think it was 7 or 8 weeks without any rain. August into almost the second week of October. It was really the last time that we had any significant rainfall. Are you a dental floss farmer? My mom is a dental hygienist. So I've done a lot of flossing and a lot of upkeep on the teeth, thanks to my mom. We got an ice storm in February and then got rain in August from that hurricane. That's crazy. But that's down in Texas. Ice storm. We get ice up here all the time. There was ice on the windshields this morning. It's 56 and sunny today, but there's the backside of the ripper. Never rains in California in the summer. But you guys had a lot of rain in the spring, didn't you? We have our own bee operation, our own apiary company that pollinates all of our own fruit trees. All of our apples and cherries are pollinated by ourselves. And I thought I remember there were concerns that we had to get them up on pallets because of some flooding. But we do send our bees from Florida in the winter out to California to do almonds. The FBI is in the chat. Hope everyone's up to their taxes. Don't peaches do well in Texas? I don't know. That's a good question for Robin. I'm not sure what the main fruit tree crop is over there. The crops in California are watered by the snowmelt. I planted over 1,500 pine trees and only one has survived. Pine trees need a lot of water. A lot of water. We have a lot of Christmas tree farms up here in this area too. There's just like a field just like I'm in, but it's just planted with Christmas trees. They cut them down and they take them to Texas. I think my uncle has a lot of acres and he does this as a side gig. And he goes down to the Houston area and sells Christmas trees. 1,500 pine trees and only one survived. That is not a good percentage, my friend. Not a good percentage. That's trouble. That is a lot of, not a good percentage. They need a lot of water. So a drought for that is probably not going to be looking good. Oh, whatever. What else has everyone tried to grow in here in the chat today? Any other? Now you can see the oats. Some volunteer oats. That's popping. Oat. That's popping back up. Hi, what are you doing, Pen? We are subsoiling here today. We are marking our rows for where we're going to be planting cherries next week. So we're doing some subsoiling while we're just chatting. There's a 3-shank ripper here. Can you do a wheelie in that thing? I would bet. Right now we have a 200-gallon tank in the front where we were injecting some neemicide and other beneficials in with the apples, in with the roots to help that. So right now we actually don't have the weights on. I bet if we had something bigger on the back, because this thing's not that heavy, we could probably do a wheelie. The biggest problem we have is plate rock about 3 feet down and the roots can't get deep enough. Well, that's also a big problem. You got to have room for the roots to go. And I bet it's pretty tough to break rock up. GPS thinks we're not going fast enough. Thinks no one's in the seat. Yesterday we planted apples. It was absolutely miserable out. It was like 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts and about 40 degrees. Planted from dark to dark, and then all of a sudden we come in the next day, we couldn't hell off a bit because it's a beautiful day today. No wind, 55 and sunny. We could probably go take a look and show you guys what we're doing behind the tractor. We'll go take a quick look. So you can see we got 3 shanks here. We're down 12-16 inches. And we're just trying to bust up the soil a little bit, trying to pull up a little bit of rock, if there's any big rocks in there. We do have a little play here so that it does move a little bit if we do hit a big rock, so there can keep stuff from breaking. So it's not too complicated. Just got them down in there a little bit. Just ripping up soil today. Aeration is the goal. We have another tractor way over here that's got a chisel plow on it, and we usually follow with that. And that really gets the soil kind of into the conditions that we need. Into the conditions we need to plant. Yeah, having that much rock in there doesn't really help. That's kind of what we're doing today. Oh, look at my lunch, my girly lunchbox is in the reflection in the window. Did you use a mule plow when you were a kid? No. No, we actually don't do much plowing on the farm. We don't do much plowing. We do a lot more disking. We do have a 6-bottom plow, but we've never used it. Did you use a mule plow when you were a kid? When I was a kid, I was mowing lawns. That's for sure. Till I turned about 14 and I started working on the farm. Because I was lazy. This is a, what is it? 120 acre farm here. 120 acre farm is what this farm is total, all the way up to the top of the hill. But we're only planting, I think it's about 30 acres of it this year. That's all we have trees for. So if there's anybody new here that doesn't know what I do on YouTube, I started this farming YouTube channel back in April. And I wanted to show people how cherries and apples are produced and what that looks like. Because I think more and more people are interested in where their food comes from more than they used to be. Everybody wants to see where their food from. They want to know what's going on. So I took a look around and there weren't a lot of people doing specialty crops like cherries and apples. So I said, hey, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. So I bought a camera and just started talking to it. So I show pretty much all aspects of our operation, from our nursery work to taking care of cherry trees, taking care of apple trees. We show our bees, planting, just kind of weekly projects and everything we got going on. We'll have that planted here in a couple years. We have apples in a nursery up north as well right now we have about 10,000 trees planted up here on our northern farm, while the rest are in our southern nursery. So we'll plant those in 2026. We'll be planting, and that's M106 rootstock, so that's a little bit bigger and not a high density orchard like what we planted yesterday. All of our land on that orchard will be filled with the high density, so we don't have a need to plant more with that dwarving stocked rootstock. So the M106 is a bigger tree. How many years does it take for apples and cherries to produce? So apple trees are a much faster crop to produce. They usually, I mean, you'll have apples on your trees in the first year, but you don't want them on there because you want the tree to grow up faster than the trees, faster than they can produce limbs out to the side. You want to get that trunk diameter up. So we kind of get rid of the fruit for about the first 3 years, until it's usually year 3, year 4, that you'll start to get apples off a tree and that you can, have a marketable crop. Cherries are a different story. To answer the second half of this question, cherries are more of like the 5 to 7 year return before you get money back on those. So that's definitely a lot more money up front, that's for sure. It's a lot of capital investment to not get any return on for a decade before you get any sizable crop, which is unfortunate. How do you keep the birds and bugs out of your fruit trees? Well, we have to apply an integrated pest management system where we have scouting, and in response to problems that show up, we might go out with certain chemistries to tackle different types of problems, whether it be bugs or infections to the leaves, fungus. Birds, there's some liquid stuff you can put in a spray tank that smells funny. We also put mylar, which is like a shiny ribbon. We'll tie that in the trees to help deter birds out from landing on them. The smaller trees, the smart talk. Yeah. We'll put when trees are smaller and birds land on them, they'll break the branches, and we obviously don't want that, so we really want to keep the birds out of the way. Good morning. Man, the graphics of Farm Simulator 24 look insane. Yeah, the inside the cab view. I think Farm Simulator 2025 just came out. I've been seeing some TikToks on it. I used to play a lot of that back when I was in college. That's funny. Smart talk, yes. We're talking smart. My name is Mituo. Don't know if I said that right, but I'm definitely not going to be able to read that. A Japanese tracker. I don't know what that means. But if there's a hacker, you're not going to find anything but farming TikToks. Stay away from my boy Trump. Bloodstained believer. Man, the graphics for Farm Simulator look insane. That's funny. Nope, just doing a little real life farming. Doing some subsoiling to to aerate the soil. Where is this? Wyoming? No, this is, holy. Lifted up a rock there. This is Michigan. This is Michigan. This is northern Michigan. Did you guys cover crop? What was used? This was when we don't have cherries ready to plant, We have a local row crop farmer who comes in and will do a couple years, 3 or 4 years, and rotate a couple different crops in. Usually they do corn, sunflowers, and then they end, whatever they end with, they always end with oats because it leaves the orchard floor, it leaves the dirt the most flat, so we don't have to do as much work working up the soil as we prepare to put cherries in the ground. So what you're seeing, wherever it is, I don't know if you can tell anymore, there's a little bit of faded green there. That is just some oats that after we work the field in, they kind of just come back up. I'm assuming they'll die off at the first frost that we get, but we'll find out when that happens. Toby, welcome. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but in the comments now, I think on the long form video, you can see people who are top fans of the channel. It show, at least for me, I don't know if it's visible for you guys, but it shows me who has the most activity on the channel, who makes the most comments, kind of like super fans. We use Sesbian for our grapefruit fields. Nice. A lot of the time we'll use a popular one is sorghum. We do use a lot of sorghum when we plant. If we have to put something down on our own, it's usually sorghum. We did have some rye that we had, some winter rye. And I think we're pretty much all out of that at this point, so we're just gonna kind of leave this up there too. Some sun hemp. Gotcha. That's nice. So you guys do grapefruit then? That's your crop? Is Jake number one? I don't think so. You don't comment on any of the long form videos or anything else besides one comment when nobody gets in here, when it's just you here right off the bat. Where are you working today? This is the Dockery Farm off of Easley Road. We're back subsoiling. We're back ripping the rows, marking them up. That's the game plan today. We're gonna do this till later. Now there was a big old burn pile here in the middle, so there's definitely some scraps popping up. The rain let up. Yes, it did. It in fact did, because we were running this John Deere tractor. I don't know if you guys can see it that well over there. We were running our John Deere 4050 late last week, and we had so much rain that we were just kind of sliding all over the place. We had to abandon it. And we've been getting rain pretty consistently now for about the last about 2-3 weeks. Seems like we always have a couple days of rain now. So that's really helped us. We were kind of afraid we were going to roll into the winter in a drought, which would have been interesting. I remember you said it was too wet. It was very wet. It was very wet. But now we've kind of, instead of getting a lot at once, we've been getting a couple periodic days of rain, which helps let that rain soak in instead of get so wet that it just sits on top of the soil. You Canada, no, United States. United States. United States of America. So you can see the blue lines are separated by a gap. How many years been working on the farms? Oh man. I started in 2009. So that's about 15 years or so. 15. Started when I was 14. Or 15, I guess, if you want to call it. Just turned 30 this year. I'm old as hell. Feeling old as hell, boys. I think I went golfing on my birthday and I like popped a rib out of place golfing. That's how old I am. I was like walking around like a cripple. I was all hunched over, couldn't barely breathe. But, you know, a nice massage from the local masseuse in town here, and I'm right back to normal. Right back to normal. I also tried to go play basketball. There's a basketball run on Friday mornings at the local high school, and I tried that, and that also messed me up. I guess I got to stick with exercising or just stick to sitting at home with a case of Busch Light. Can't have both when you're 30. My body's taking a bit to adjust to the 30s, but we're smoothing out now. That's a big old pile of rock right there. We've handpicked all that out of this farm. It's about as tall as that tractor. Definitely as tall as my pickup truck behind it. Oh man. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. The sun is out. Great day to work the fields. Jake, you might be number one on maybe hours watched, but everything else, no. The last 3 days I've been picking up rocks. Yeah, we usually have plenty of guys out picking rocks. All of our labor's gone for the summer. Or for the year, I guess it's not summer anymore. They're here from April to middle of October. And we use them for pre-harvest work, cherry harvest, apple harvest, and then some post-harvest work. So we're on our own now. So I try and do the least amount of rock picking. How is my Espanol? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I took a Spanish in high school, did AP Spanish, did it in college, and it's definitely very helpful here now that we primarily use most of our labor through Mexico because we can't get local people to come to work anymore. Almost all of our labor when I was growing up working on the farm when I was in high school was all local help. We had everyone coming from high school, kids from college would come back, and you could get people to walk through the door and do job applications and have working people from here. But now we might get one person walk through the door to look for a job, which is too bad because everyone's got daddy's credit card to swipe and go pay for anything. Nobody has a work ethic anymore, so we have to rely on contracted labor from out of state through the H-2A program. I've seen our labor change from Mexican to Haitian to Mexican again. Well, how was the local animal population while it was at the height of the Haitian employment stage there for you? Were the strays under control? They're eating the dogs. The dogs are being eaten. Americans now are lazy. Offered $20 cash per hour to help around my property for a weekend and nobody wanted them to show up. THC says maybe people are sick of doing the big dog's work and getting paid shit. Hey, boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time. Apartment complex are losing a lot of pets. They're eating the dogs. Americans are lazy. $20 cash, yes. For the apple planting yesterday, we offer, I had a buddy come work with us. He had the day off. He flies planes. You'll see him in the long form video. If you guys tune into that, that'll be out on Sunday, our apple planting video. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when our apple planting video goes live if you're interested to know how we planted almost 18,000 apple trees in about 11 hours. The apartment complex are losing pets. Yes. A lot of dogs eating the dogs. Do you get paid by the acre or by the hour? My boss says I only get paid when I turn the tractor around because I just sit here and it drives itself. Just kidding, I'm on salary. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I make the same amount of money, which is great in the winter and the fall. But come summertime, when you know the hours are 100 hours a week, that kind of sucks. Especially, I mean, if Trump says what he's going to do and he's going to take taxes away on overtime, I might have to switch back to hourly. No taxes on overtime? Woo! Farmers might start making money. Hector, morning. I was off to pay that tint ticket. Oh, man. I was off today to pay a tint ticket. You hate to see it. I keep waiting for myself to get a ticket now that I've said, oh, nobody bothers you for tint here in Michigan. But I'm just waiting to get pulled over and eat my words. My farm doesn't allow overtime. In Michigan, farmers are not required to pay overtime to seasonal employees, which falls between, I forget how many days you are, how long you have to be employed to be considered a seasonal employee. So that would mean, yes, for anyone who comes in the door looking for a job, we aren't required to pay them overtime. But if they also work in the same field as our migrant help, they have to sign the same contract, and we do not pay them overtime because we're not required to. So they make the same amount of money, which that keeps increasing every year, which is a lot of states have that issue too, where this program that was designed to have these guys come help us are now having them get paid way too much, and now people still can't afford to have or help find labor. Whoa! Look at this. Looky. We found a rock and digging up some tree roots. Is it roots or roots? In Michigan, we say stuff weird. I got like 80 hours this week. The hurricane hit from drainage though. How much seasonal worker? I work for the city of Burlington and they don't pay overtime. The seasonal worker here, I think our contract, the whole state of Michigan for any migrant labor, what is it? I think it's 18 something an hour. Is it 1830, 1850? What is it, Jake? I know you're still listening. This guy here, he does hires a lot more labor on their farm than we do on ours. That's for sure. It looks nice. And do you only sell fruit through our co-op? Oh man, my phone's frozen. That's lame. I wish my phone wasn't frozen. Is it frozen for you guys? Can anyone write in the comments and see if it's frozen? I just got a phone call and it messed it up. And it must be frozen for you guys too, because everybody just left. It looks black. Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's what happens when you get a phone call. That's why I want to have something else that I can live stream on. It's black. We can hear you, but no pic. Jake says $18.34 is what we pay him. So the only way for me to fix this is to shut the live off and then restart it. So if you guys want to catch back up on that, you're going to have to do that. I gotta call this person back. Give me 5 minutes and I'm going to turn the live stream back on. If you want to be notified for that, subscribe to the channel so you can rejoin with that notification, so you'll know when we go back live. We'll be back in 5. Folks.